Hello team and welcome back to another Line War cast. This is your map today in a 1v1 between Barracuda in blue and WelcomeTo in red. This is game 3 from an upper bracket match in the T2 2023 tournament that is going on right now in Line War. So game 3, this means it's an elimination game in the sense that the loser will go down to the lower bracket and the winner will remain in the upper bracket. The person who gets knocked down to the lower bracket, of course, still has an opportunity to play in the grand final. It's a double elimination sort of tournament, so you're allowed to lose 2 games, one of which being in the upper bracket, one of which being in the lower bracket, and then you're eliminated from the tournament. WelcomeTo's go for a dock immediately with a transport boat on the way and helicopters out of this airport in the forest. And Barracuda is also going to contest this like central lake. If we take a look at the map, there's a lake in the center with a cruiser right away. I believe it's going to be a cruiser out of the dock, an airport building helicopters, artillery pieces out of the factory, and a barracks on the way as well. Blue's going to get the first crack at taking the right-hand side of the map. There's a lot of eco over here. And if the map were to split and blue takes the right-hand side, I believe that blue would have more economy overall. So we might end up having a big fight somewhere here on the map. There's 2 more barracks that WelcomeTo's building to help push with this. And this is a missile boat, I believe, that is being created for WelcomeTo in red. First helicopter is nearly done for WelcomeTo as a town in the bottom. Presumably red's going to take this as the refinery or location to keep these boats and planes moving. Blue, on the other hand, will probably take this far right refinery. And so far it's nice for red to control this mountain, because whoever controls this will have a little bit more, of an advantage controlling this choke point. Navies will certainly be important if either player wants to push through this. And now there's 1 helicopter for each side on the airport and a 3rd barracks on the way for Barracuda. WelcomeTo also matches that 3rd barracks. So overall, very, similar production strengths for both players. It is a SAM out of the blue factory immediately, which is nice because of these red helicopters that are going to get in the fight anytime now. And the 1 missile boat will be nice, but of course, WelcomeTo is going to move the infantry closer to the water so that this missile boat can actually cover it. All these infantry. And blue seems content to just dig in here. or not, going for a push. Blue does have the numbers to be able to do a little bit of an attack here, especially if WelcomeTo is going to spread some units to the left-hand side to cap. The first cruiser is also out of the dock for Barracuda. In a straight-up fight, a cruiser is going to destroy a missile boat. And then we'll see if Barracuda can do something with a navy advantage in the center lake. So new plan from Barracuda is to just snipe this 1 barracks. This is blue's vision. So you can see all 3 of the barracks. As long as this cruiser, distracts this red missile boat, these helicopters should be able to do some amount of damage to the barracks. They'd have to fly over all this red infantry though, so it's a little bit bold with just 1 of the helicopters. And great play from WelcomeTo with 2 helicopters jumping on this cruiser immediately. They might actually be able to destroy it before it gets away. Barracuda was making a missile boat out of the dock, but instead elects to go for another cruiser. Which isn't like a super weird play. There is 1 SAM here, but the 2nd on the way, so blue probably feels that as long as they keep the cruisers close to the coast, these SAMs can cover it. Eco-wise, it's important to look at 420 for blue and 435 for red, so relatively similar from both players. Love this barracks in the bottom for WelcomeTo. That's going to help push more infantry to the right-hand side, which ultimately red's going to have to contest against blue. And we just saw that first refinery go down for WelcomeTo. who has a healthy group of infantry on the far left, doing their best to cap. These two helicopters from red, I suspect, are going to be able to destroy this cruiser before it's able to get back to the SAMs. Wonderful reaction speed from Barracuda, though. Probably really actually does save this cruiser when it comes down to it. This is quite the army for blue that's kind of amassing in front of the mountains. And just like that, blue decides to push. This will be successful for blue if they push all at once. At least to the point that blue will be able to control this territory. Because there's no heavy machinery, there's no factory units here for red to defend. The two missile boats are good against the helicopters. This one cruiser is what's going to help out a lot against the actual ground units here for blue. And both players content to continue making helicopters. So WelcomeTo is going to send the helicopters to the right, deciding that the SAMs are too much. And these three helicopters are going to be huge as WelcomeTo pushes to the right-hand side of the map. The helicopters are almost within range of this refinery if they land on this you know, closest territory from red. But until blue has some anti-air in the bottom right, those helicopters will do a ton of damage. The new question for WelcomeTo is whether this one barracks can stay alive. Certainly if red decides to dig in at this choke, then there's no real way that blue would be able to continue pushing, or it would be very difficult. These red units digging in, they're going to be taking fatigue damage as they're doing the digging. So they're at lower health. There's enough blue units, sort of. These two artillery pieces might be the deciding factor. And there's the move command from Barracuda to try to get the infantry in, like, the entrenchments themselves, like this one is doing. And of course, once the units are behind that 120-degree arc, I believe, of the defender, there is no more defender's advantage from the entrenchments. So that's the strength of that blue move command from Barracuda, who is going to lose at least one of the helicopters, maybe not the second one. And a little bit of a skirmish in the bottom right. Those helicopters for red are going to do a fantastic job. Blue loses two helicopters right there. And unfortunately for Barracuda, WelcomeTo is going to hold on to that barracks. And that was a very expensive play. So this is now starting to look more in red's favor, I believe. There's no real answer for what WelcomeTo has in the bottom right. There is a factory on the way for Barracuda, but that's going to take a while to actually get online. And now blue's helicopter count reset to 0, with that first one now popping off the airport. 577 income for red, 550 for blue, who is certainly going to lose at least one of these cruisers. So the missile, like the machine guns off of cruisers, when they're actually shooting, is the same DPS as a missile boat. I found that out, but of course the range is so small that the cruiser has to really be right underneath the helicopter to do the damage. So this is a big moment. Will WelcomeTo continue to push, or decide to push now that they've defended that dedicated attack from blue? It looks like the answer is yes, and the red units are going to follow the coast so that these cruisers and missile boats can cover. This is good for Barracuda. The cruisers taking on the missile boats. Here comes the helicopters again. They're in such a great position that they can help these infantry on the right-hand side, but then also do things like this. And this might allow red to push the cruisers up towards the dock and destroy it, which would give WelcomeTo control of this central lake. There is that other cruiser on the way. On the left-hand side, WelcomeTo's actually got a refinery, second refinery, and nearly has the bottom left. Eco-wise, 590 for blue. 657 for red. And top down, this is the look. This is the big part because these blue territories are going to start becoming red territories. So it takes away blue's income and also adds the red's income, which is such a huge deal. It's not like red is just capping neutral territories with those infantry. Decent reaction time from WelcomeTo. Still loses a cruiser. And red is building more cruisers. The 2 missile boats in the center are actually the perfect amount given how many helicopters Barracuda has. So for now it makes sense that red would build another cruiser. This is a target command from these red infantry, which we will just watch for a second. There's enough red infantry that without the blue helicopter, they would certainly be able to destroy this. I still think with the helicopter, WelcomeTo is going to be able to destroy this refinery, which will leave Barracuda with no energy. Right now it's full at 30 of 30. But when the refinery goes down, this helicopter will stop moving, and the boats will stop moving as well. Here's another big fight for this mountain range. The good thing for Barracuda is that there's now 5 SAMs, and that's exactly what happens. There's a canceled SAM production in favor of now an artillery piece. Because this is pretty much a full dot of SAMs. This is enough for blue to be able to defend against the helicopters. The helicopters find the one spot that they really can go without running into these SAMs. And they'll pick off some of these units, and there's the reaction from Barracuda, who's going to find it tough to rebuild this refinery. The one in the north will have to get used. The good thing for blue is that there are 2 barracks and a factory that over time is going to start to produce an army. And I like this factory placement for WelcomeTo. Very aggressive on the other side of this mountain range. Tough luck for that one helicopter pilot. And this could be a nice little pickup for Barracuda. Might be able to get... certainly we'll get a second helicopter. Might be able to get a third. Certainly if WelcomeTo's reaction wasn't so good. I guess I wasn't expecting that one to get hit. I was expecting this helicopter to get destroyed. But either way, that's good for blue. It seems that both players want to push there. Neither one wants to defend. This fight is interesting to watch. The longer this goes on, the more red can build up. And there's actually 2 interceptors on the airport for WelcomeTo. And the range of this red airport... I guess we're only seeing the blue airport on the replay, but the range would be that the helicopters, if they wanted to come across the lake, the interceptors would be able to help out. Interceptors also nice for spotting commandos, although we haven't seen that in this game quite yet. And stealth units in general. Barracuda nearly has 3 helicopters. Well, I mean, there is 3 helicopters, but there's a 4th one on the way. And I like that pickup from Barracuda, who might not get this 3rd cruiser. I suppose if it turns around, then it will. Unless, I guess the way that this works is that the blue helicopters would then focus on the anti-air unit. It's just great micro from WelcomeTo. Barracuda's lucky to get that one helicopter out of there, and WelcomeTo adds another barracks. So red certainly has more production here now, with 4 barracks and a factory against the 3 barracks and a factory for Barracuda. This is pretty decent micro from WelcomeTo. And this is a wonderful attack from Barracuda. Great job to destroy that cruiser. So WelcomeTo's vision is this. Sees that there are some production units here. I like that there's a 3rd barracks on the way for blue. And this is a nice little play from WelcomeTo to send the infantry up to the refinery. There's a few things that Barracuda could do to defend against this, which is move the helicopters up, potentially, or just send some of these units to follow these red infantry. The problem with that sort of approach is that it allows red to continue capping here. And maybe start pushing if enough blue units commit to the north. It's kind of a tough situation that WelcomeTo puts Barracuda in, but that's the strength of a run-by. This is just a stalemate here in this open field. Potentially over time it's going to start favoring red though because of that aforementioned production advantage that they have. And some industry on the left-hand side for WelcomeTo, who I'm sure has taken quite the eco lead in this game. It's 886 for red and 670 for blue. Another barracks for Barracuda, who's actually done a decent job capping in the top left. If there could be a barracks built over here, that'd be super good for blue. Of course, it's just a question of money. It's not like blue can just very easily build a barracks in that location. But we did see that town and a few farms and industry on the left-hand side for WelcomeTo. So this is I think, officially in a situation where we can call it a comeback if Barracuda wins this game. And I believe it's going to be pretty difficult to do that. There are 2 SAMs for blue in the bottom right, which is good for the number of helicopters that WelcomeTo is going to show up with. Unfortunately, before they get into position, this one helicopter might even destroy 2 artillery pieces. Decent reaction time from Barracuda here. Also sending some helicopters to try to defend against this, but because it's a target command, WelcomeTo is going to destroy that refinery, lose all the infantry for it. But the bigger deal is that now the boats can't move, the helicopters can't move for blue. And now this allows the 2 helicopters to, or 3 helicopters to at least get one of the cruisers. And good reaction from WelcomeTo to send the helicopters home. We'll only lose 1 on the way out. Barracuda has the artillery advantage. The tough part here is that there's a difference between getting to the base of the mountain and then getting into the mountain range. With how slow artillery move, and this is also a red-controlled territory, so the movement speed penalty is greater for blue than it is for red. More infantry on the way, both players adding a barracks in the center. And there's really these 2 big fights going on. 710 income for blue, 968 for red. Another helicopter goes down on the right-hand side, and WelcomeTo's added a factory. So both players have even production on this side. I suppose that there's a little bit of a boost from this one barracks for WelcomeTo as well. And WelcomeTo's added a second dock into this lake. Both of which are building cruisers. And I kind of like this play. Having a lot of boats here protects this choke. So worst case scenario, if Barracuda destroyed all of this and pushed right up to this, it'd be difficult for blue to push any further. And it would just make blue go around, really. 3 helicopters in a perfect spot. There's no SAMs around. There's no interceptors for blue. And even if there were, there's no energy for Barracuda to actually fly the planes. And both players are going to dig in this open field. Which is probably more advantageous for red, just because I think red is making more money per minute than blue is. And red's also capping quicker. Love this play from Barracuda with these 3 SAMs to take out a barracks. The mini tank, probably the coolest unit in line war. This is known. And on this front on the right hand side, it's just gonna be both players building up a big army. And then inevitably one of the players will go for it, and that's line war for you. Line 4 for you. Eco-wise, 730 for blue, 998 for red. Barracuda's got a refinery in the top left. This is actually, I think, a pretty risky refinery if there's no other producer around it. This one barracks for red is huge here. And after a while, that many infantry are going to be able to attack that refinery. But for now, blue's going to be able to use the helicopters. Certainly will lose this dock, and I can't imagine that Barracuda will rebuild another dock in its place. There's just too many helicopters and, you know, naval advantage for WelcomeTo. Barracuda can see this second dock as well. And what's going on the left-hand side? This could be a city relatively quickly. The last industry is finishing up for this town. And blue's gonna get one of the barracks, will probably not get a factory. There's no SAMs or missile boats that are in range, so if these helicopters come from the north, they're gonna be able to do some damage. Until the little mini tanks can get up there. The way the helicopters work is they shoot their Tomahawk missiles until they're out of them, then they use the machine gun a little bit. If they ever get knocked down to some percentage of their health, they will return to base automatically, and in this case for helicopters, they'll just return to a friendly territory and land there. And WelcomeTo is going to just trade out some helicopters to destroy this barracks. Certainly, I missed this. Barracuda was the first one to decide to break the defensive line and go for it, which does make sense, kind of as mentioned. I think Barracuda would know and sense that the longer that goes on, the worse it is. For blue, love this barracks in the top left. And another helicopter will go down in this game. I feel like we've seen the most helicopters get lost in this game from both players. Of like any match that we've seen, and I love it. Both players making plays. 1110 income for red now, 750 for blue. Finally, these red infantry are stomped out. I said earlier that all the red infantry up there would be destroyed. I wasn't, I'm kind of surprised that they weren't. So I suppose great play from WelcomeTo to keep them alive that long. Now these 4 helicopters for Barracuda are free to come back down and help out. Interceptors do pretty much no damage to ground units. And maybe blue will destroy that factory, and then we'll see what the plan is after that. Great defense from Barracuda in the top left. This refinery is so important, but these 2 helicopters are going to be able to destroy it the next time they're able to fly. Unless they retreat all the way. I mean, I guess they're still in range. Yeah, I suppose they're still in range. It's tough defending like a refinery that's kind of off on its own, so to speak, just because of, especially in a game where your opponent's gone for helicopters, because of this exact threat. Infantry can shoot at helicopters as long as there's enough of them underneath. But of course, there's just not enough blue infantry to deal with the red ground force and then also the helicopters. These 3 artillery pieces in the entrenchments, kill counts are insane right now. And now WelcomeTo starts to pay for the victory, just builds 3 more barracks, so that will essentially seal the deal on the right-hand side. There's still no SAMs for red. So magically, if a bunch of blue helicopters were there, they'd be able to do all right. But the push for blue peters out in the center. The refinery is destroyed in the top left. And WelcomeTo is going to start capping all of this territory. And now here comes some Navy from WelcomeTo to start helping out on the right-hand side. Essentially just ensure that this red force is able to push all the way to where Barracuda's production is. And top down, this is what we got. To the wonderful sounds of the Line War soundtrack. I suppose. Shout out to Infenzia. We have not, I'm just like now thinking, we haven't seen many rockets in this tournament. I don't think. In any of the games that we've casted. And not nearly as many tanks as we used to see. I mean, in a map like this, on the right-hand side, tanks could probably be effective because it's a big open field. In the center with that mountain, it's a little bit difficult because the tanks move so slowly. But tanks are the coolest unit in Line War, this is known. Here's the graphs. Well played both, so as mentioned, this just means that Barracuda goes down to the lower bracket, still has an opportunity to play in the grand finals and keep playing in the tournament. WelcomeTo stays in the upper bracket. And if you'd like to follow the bracket, you can check a link in the description. But of course, spoilers, it will have the results of all the games. And I hope you have a wonderful night, day, evening, breakfast, lunch, dinner, whatever it is. Also, there's some news about AI progress in Line War. You can check out the Steam page or the Line War Discord for more information. Come say hi. And again, hope you have a wonderful night, evening, day. See you around. Peace.